All right, so now you're not blurry.
I'm kind of blurry.
Are you blurry?
Yeah, I might have
No.
just brought it with me from back there.
Rafi's Rambles, Rafi's Rambles, Rafi's Rambles.
Hola, you amazing artist, and welcome to the new year.
2020!
2020! Woo! Last year was quite the adventure. We wanted to talk to you guys a little bit in this video about what it is that we do when the year end comes. Basically, Clea and I sit in the studio and we discuss what happened the year before and what kind of things were like the wins. We celebrate our wins.
And what kind of things we could have done more gooder.
Yeah, more good.
And what kind of things were utter rubbish that need to get chucked for the following year.
A lot of times when you're going through the different emotions in the year, there might be things that you decide to take on that you're like, this is going to make me a lot of money. But then it doesn't actually, it's not actually something that you want to do. And a lot of times you don't figure that out until you actually try it. There are definitely some things that we try that are not so great.
And there are some things that were like, and then they end up being totally awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things that we always recommend to people is to constantly take a look at your year. So 2019, we started the year and we had a rough financial patch at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, that's one way to say it.
Yeah, if you guys have watched our videos throughout the year, you know that the beginning of the year, things kind of dried up for us because we got comfortable.
Yeah, we totally did.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that that's one of the things I recommend to people is like, don't get comfortable. When you are in a career that is completely unpredictable, like being an artist, the one thing you do not want to do is allow yourself to fall into a false sense of security. Clea and I got comfortable and we kind of ignored our multiple our multiple screams of income.
Our multiple screams of income were more like multiple.
Yeah, we start to really focus on one area, and that one area kind of dried up, and it dried up for quite a bit. And the thing about it is that when you start to produce any kind of stream of income, it is slow going in the beginning, and then it will slowly start to pick up, but you need to maintain that in order to keep it going. And so if you ignore certain things and one of them dries up, those other things are also going to take some time to get to a place where you're feeling financially not stable, because there isn't really any stability in this.
Financially, aight.
Yes, financially, aight. I remember in the beginning of the year when that was happening, we were both kind of like, shit, what are we going to do?
Well, I was like, I'm going to continue to do the market because that's what I do.
Yeah.
And you were like, I got to do something different.
There were things that I wanted to do. So I wanted to launch a Patreon page because I was curious about that. I wasn't really sure what that entailed, and honestly there was something about doing that scared me. I also wanted to do a podcast. I wanted to write a book. There were all these like grandiose ideas of things that I wanted to do that I just kind of like put off, you know, because you make really good excuses and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, and some of them I was like, that sounds cool, and sometimes I was like, what's a Patreon?
Yeah. What ended up happening was that it was like, okay, well, if not now, when? So took all the things that I had thought about doing over the last few years and did them all.
Yeah.
All of them.
Rafi was like, I'm going to cram all of my life goals into 2019. There might be some screaming.
Yeah, there was a lot of screaming. There was a lot of screaming and a lot of like, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I could do this. And the biggest one was this book. I am holding this tangible book in my hands.
It's so weird and cool.
It's amazing to me, and I think that's the biggest thing of pushing outside of your comfort zones, and especially reevaluating your year, is that you take a look at the wins and celebrate them and say, wow, I did this happened. The other important thing to look at, though, is all the failures. There were a lot of failures.
Super awesome failures.
Yeah, a lot of failures this year. So, like, you kind of reevaluate those too, and what did you learn from them, and how can I do this better? And
yeah, and what are the things that you're like, I just don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And or I could be a better man.
I can be a better man.
I can do this and be a better man.
You get to look at hindsight the entire year and decide, like, what kind of things do I want to do for 2020?
Yeah.
You know, and what kind of things are going to push me outside of my comfort zone in 2020, and so that by the end of the year, I've accomplished this thing and allowed myself an entire year to fail and get it wrong and then get it right. At the end of the year, you look back and you're like, wow, I did this. And even if you didn't, wow, I came close. I guess I'll do it next year.
You don't have to, like, do 10 things that are brand new.
No, don't do as Rafi did.
Rafi's a wild and crazy guy.
One of the things that we've reevaluated for 2020 is do not cram everything that you want to do into a handful of months, because that is going to be very overwhelming and your attention is split amongst a whole bunch of things and you can't really focus on something. So,
I mean, unless you want to, unless you too are a wild and crazy guy.
Yeah, if you want to, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. But I personally would probably just stick to maybe one or two things that you just focus on for the year.
I would say I took on like a couple of things, and we took on a lot of things together, but you definitely took on that. My things were like, I'm going to do some woodworking and create some new displays that I enjoy for myself, and I'm going to join a co-op gallery and see how that goes. And you were like, I'm going to do everything. And I was like, well, what things are you doing that involve me? The podcast. Launching the e-commerce website.
Yeah, the e-commerce website. There were so many things that we did this year that were all things that we've wanted to do.
Yeah.
But this year was the culmination of everything just coming together.
And sometimes you're doing your thing and then life just throws a thing at you. So we definitely didn't plan on overhauling and redesigning and designing an e-commerce website.
Yeah.
But life was like, this is the time. Adversity breeds either champions or crying into your cornflakes.
Yeah, exactly.
And we did both.
We did both, you guys. It's not like we were like, yeah, I've got this. I could do this every single time. There were plenty of times just in the writing of this book where I hit roadblocks and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But the difference between me getting this book done and not getting the book done was the fact that I just didn't give up. I just kept going. Even when I wasn't really sure which direction I was going to head, I found a direction to head in, and then I just went that way. And if it went wrong, it went wrong, and then I just changed direction, went into a different direction.
Some days Rafi looked more ghostly pale than other days.
Yeah, it was definitely an adventure.
Some days his pants were grumpier than other days.
Yeah.
But he never kept those pants on very long.
No. Even right now, I'm not wearing pants.
Woo! 2020, no pants!
So I know that this video is a complete and utter ramble right now, but essentially what we want to do is wish you guys a happy new year, a happy, awesome, successful new year. Just reach for the stars. Reach for something that maybe you've been afraid of doing, and just do it. And take a look at last year and reevaluate the things that didn't work. If things are not going the way that you want them to go, don't continue doing the same thing. Change things up, switch them up, switch direction, try new things. When you're doing this professionally, it is very, very easy to fall into that stagnant zone, because things are working. Well, it works that I'm doing this, and so like this is bringing me an income, and then it just becomes this routine that you keep following, and you don't push yourself outside of the comfort zone of that. You kind of stay within that uncomfortable comfort zone and think that it's going to last.
Especially in a career that's almost like, come on, it's hard enough as it is. Can't I just exist in this comfort zone for a little while longer? And the answer is, not if you want growth.
No, you want to keep growing. You want to keep pushing at those comfort zones. And I love using the end of the year as a mile marker of like, all right, let's see what kind of milestones I can accomplish this year, because it's easy to look back and say, okay, well, I did this. You got all this support from this amazing community that you have, and wow, we've got 20,000 subscribers, and Holy crap.
And a Patreon family that's incredible.
Yeah.
And I think Rafi's still in shock when it comes to the book a little bit, because people have been giving him positive feedback and he's been like, thank you.
Yeah.
Also, you guys, be sure you take several moments to pat yourselves on the backs for what you did accomplish this year.
Yeah.
Don't just gloss over that and move on to the next thing.
Yeah, because, man, there are so many of you that have contacted us and said you had your first show, you had your first gallery showing, you did your first festival,
Yeah.
you put your artwork out there, and, man, do not overlook those things and understand every single one of those things is a mile marker. I'm not saying that it has to be this big, like, oh, I wrote a book and released it. Like, it doesn't have to be a giant thing. If you've never put your artwork out there and you are doing a solo show or you are showing your work for the first time at a festival, that is a mile marker. That is something to be extremely proud of, because there are so many people out there that won't even take that step.
Yeah, so celebrate you and know that we are celebrating you also. We think you guys are so friggin' amazing.
We do, absolutely. We just want to wish you guys a happy new year. Make 2020 awesome. Just make it as awesome as you are. And I would love to hear what your plans and goals are for the 2020 season.
You love to say the 2020 season.
Oh boy. Just leave those in the comments section below. And thank you so much for watching, you guys. You guys are absolutely freaking amazing. I totally adore you. And if you like this and you want to watch more like this, you click right over here to subscribe. And that's it. Say goodbye, Clee.
Good day and good year.
Adios.